Now it's time for a review of what's making headlines in the papers this morning, and let's bring on Arise analyst Constance Ikoko. Good morning.
A very good morning to you, Adesua, Charles, and Yolanda.
Good morning.
Good morning, Constance.
How's everybody today?
Very well, thank you.
I am the only one not wearing the Armed Forces Remembrance badge.
Yes.
I forgot mine at home.
Today is Armed Forces Remembrance Day.
I know. I forgot mine at home. And you know, when I was driving this morning, the roads were blocked everywhere because of the celebration.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a bit inconveniencing, but we got here. Okay, to look at the papers this morning with us, we have Emmanuel Aziken. He is a columnist with Vanguard newspaper. Hello there and welcome to the program. We'll begin with this day. Food security. FG takes delivery of 255 tractors for distribution to farmers. To also give out 1,200 trailers. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, spoke about efforts to reduce food inflation, currently at 34%. There's also a plan to reorganize and recapitalize the Bank of Agriculture to be completed before the first quarter of 2025. This will provide funding for smallholder farming activities, he says. I mean, Emmanuel, we've been hearing about tractor distribution in this country for many years. At least I can remember from my university days, we've always distributed tractors. So I'm not sure what to make of this story. What's your take on it?
Well, it's interesting, and it follows the promise by the president recently to import 1,000 or so tractors from Brazil. I think this is the first tranche coming in, 255 tractors. You know, mechanized farming really needs, as it is, needs tractors to plow the ground and to bring out the harvest and to sow. But my take is that Nigeria is like a drop in the ocean for me, because presently, I was reading a report recently that Nigeria presently has about 40,000 tractors in operation. And this has, which is a deficit. We need at least, by the World Bank reports, a World Bank report I did read, said that we need at least 75,000 tractors on ground. Other estimates have said that we need as much as 750,000 tractors. So for me, this is a drop in the ocean. But meanwhile, I would also like to say, the government going to Brazil to import tractors is also not, to me, very helpful. We have a Steer and some other companies in Nigeria who can produce these tractors. That would be a way of boosting the economy, the automobile sector. You can also boost that sector by patronizing local manufacturers of these tractors.
I mean, when I talked about the distribution, it looks like for many years we've been distributing, it hasn't moved the needle, we still have the same problems. And to think about, when he spoke about the Bank of Industry, it has 109 branches across the country. And it's been sort of incapacitated, which is why it is requiring resuscitation now. Charles?
As for the Bank of Industry, I know a number of personal friends who have actually benefited from, their contributions.
Bank of Agriculture, actually, not Industry.
Bank of Agriculture,
yes.
Sorry. I actually meant Bank of Agriculture. I have a couple of friends who have actually benefited from their interventions, and they're doing pretty much well. But how it just went down like that is what beats my imagination. But that they're back on stream now. I think it's rather encouraging, particularly for aspiring farmers, commercial farmers, so to say.
Let's look at Daily Trust then, another story there. Cash crunch. CBN fines 9 banks 1.35 billion naira. The sanction is in relation to failure to make naira notes available through automated teller machines, ATMs, during the holiday season in December 2024. Each bank was fined 150 million naira for non-compliance with the Central Bank of Nigeria's cash distribution guidelines. This followed spot checks on the branches. The banks affected are First Bank, Keystone Bank, Union Bank, Fidelity, Globus, Providence, Zenith, UBA, and Sterling. That's a steep fine. Perhaps this forces them to take this matter seriously. We know how cash is not available and it's disrupting businesses all over the country. You have to buy money from POS machines.
Yes, and you know what was not lacking this Christmas or this Yuletide season, at least in Lagos, was clean mint banknotes at weddings and in the clubs and with POS operators. And so if they have access to it, that means the banks have access to it. And so I don't even actually think it's a stiff fine, particularly because we're talking about very large banks here. These are the same banks that are holding telcos money. So this is light, this is light work. But I do think I appreciate that the CBN is backing their policies with action. It's not just talk, it's not just releasing these statements, it's not just going to the media, it's directly deducting from the accounts of this banks, and it's because they're trying to protect the Nigerian citizen, they're trying to protect us, we're the end users here, and there is no reason, absolutely no logical reason why you need to pay to access your own money.
Well, sometimes when you go to the ATMs, it is the POS operators that go to the cash machines and withdraw everything that is available there.
But they do have cash limits. But they do have cash limits, and to the degree to which these POS operators have bountiful cash, you also have to assume that there must be some system going on here where they are able to acquire this cash. Because even if you as an individual go to the ATM to withdraw, there's limits on how much you can withdraw.
That's right. Well, there's so many of them, so several of them keep going. That's the problem. I was in one ATM one day on Ghana Street, and the gateman of the bank had to begin to chase them away because other customers were waiting. Anyway, I guess this fine forced the banks to wake up and do something about it. New Telegraph. Simon Ekpa's arrest in Finland reduced tension in Southeast, according to the CDS. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musava, said this while defending his 2025 budget in the House of Representatives. He noted that they've also been working with political leaders there for lasting peace. Emmanuel, I don't know if you traveled during December. I traveled to Anambra and Abia states. It was okay. It was relatively peaceful. There were pockets of incidences here and there, but generally peaceful. However, I have to say that what I noticed was that the level of extortion from security forces, whether it's the police or army, it's terrible. Emmanuel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah. What, and that brings to question the delay by the Nigerian authorities in bringing Simon Ekpa's case to the Finnish authorities. Well, better late than never. And one would also appreciate the fact that the security, you said you traveled to Anambra and you traveled to Abia.
Yes.
But you didn't go to Imo. You didn't go to Imo.
I went to Imo in 2023. Yes,
Imo remains the epicenter. Just recently, there were also reports of killings there. Even in Anambra, a lawmaker there is presently still in custody. Others have been kidnapped. There was a report recently of somebody who was kidnapped and ransom was paid, a lady, and still she was killed. So one will welcome the assurances from the Chief of Defense Staff, but we want to say that, yes, it is not Uhuru yet.
All right. Daily Independent, FG confirms return of over $110 million in recovered assets. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, disclosed this during budget defense. A lot coming out from budget defense around this period. The minister, however, failed to give a breakdown of the funds, including $52.88 million recovered assets linked to former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Desiani Alison Madeke, by the United States government. Guys, the level of thievery in this country is mind-boggling. I mean, doesn't it show a poverty of mind to steal this much? What do you need this for? Anyone can jump in.
As a matter of fact, I think the figures being quoted here are pretty conservative. I am sure the real figures actually go into billions of dollars. So what we have here is rather paltry.
Billions that have been recovered or billions that have
billions that have been looted. And of course, I think over the years, a lot of the money, or some of this money, considering the quantum being stolen, the amount recovered is rather negligible, but at least it's quite significant. The question we ask is that these recovered funds, what happens to them? I mean, are these funds relooted again? I mean, what are they being channeled into? What is the federal government doing about it? This is what we need proper accounting for.
Yeah, I mean, I think also interestingly, he brought up the PNID case, and we have seen Nigeria have to deal with these multiple international arbitration cases due to poor transactions, due to corruption, and due to looted funds. And I also want to connect this to the report that we saw earlier that Ovietime George did, particularly about the 70 soldiers, 70 members of the armed forces who, first of all, they were sentenced to death, but luckily enough, they are now free after serving 10 years in prison. But something he highlighted there was that they said that they had to deal with weaponry that was inferior to that of the terrorists that they were fighting. And he also highlighted the $2 billion Sambo Dasuki, case of the appropriation of funds and this weaponry, that whole process. And so when we talk about looting in Nigeria, or we talk about corruption, we have to understand that it's not just money, it's that there are lives that are affected, lives that could be lost. It has real implications for the average Nigerian.
Sorry,
I think we have to cross live now. Unfortunately, we have to end our newspaper review, and we're going to cross live now to Abu Dhabi, where President Bola Tinubu is speaking at the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. So let's listen.
Over time, the topic assigned to me for discussion is climate imperatives into economic prosperity, bridging African with global energy future. This topic resonates deeply with Africa's aspirations and challenges. It also underscores a pivotal reality about our dear continent. The fight against climate change is not merely an environmental necessity, but a global economic opportunity to reshape the trajectory of our continent and the global energy landscape. As leaders, stakeholders, and citizens of our planet, we stand at a crucial and critical junction in human history. To succeed, we must innovate, collaborate, and decisively collaborate as a global community. As Africa's most populous nation and one of its largest economies, Nigeria recognizes its responsibility to demonstrate the required leadership on these matters. We have embraced the vision of sustainability that aligns with global aspiration while addressing the local realities. Our efforts are anchored on 3 pillars: energy transition, climate resilience, and sustainable development. My administration, we recognize this problem from the word get-go, from inception. We recognize the importance of reducing carbon emission and a just transition to clean and renewable energy, promoting environmental sustainability and economic growth. Energy transition, dear delegates and all the excellencies, our energy transition plan, like many nations, are aimed at diversifying energy sources and reducing our dependency on fossil fuel. Prioritizing the transition to cleaner energy sources as a cornerstone of our national development strategy. Nigeria is committed to achieving a net zero emission by 2060, in line with global climate objectives. We are developing the infrastructure to utilize compressed natural gas and electric vehicles. Nigeria also is investing substantially in energy generation through exploration of efficient and internationally satisfied data required to export our solid mineral and critical metal in support of the green energy transition. Climate resiliency must be achieved. Building resiliency against the adverse effects of climate change is essential for safeguarding our African communities and economies. Nigeria is implementing climate-smart agricultural practices to enhance food security while reducing environmental impacts. The government has approved several developmental policies such as National Clean Cooking Gas Policy, which is aimed at promoting clean energy, environment, and health benefit and socio-economic development in our region. We believe the sustainable development must be inclusive. We are therefore working tirelessly to ensure that our policies promote equity and social justice, leaving no one behind. Challenges versus opportunities in Nigeria, yes, there are, and there will continue to be challenges. But how do you mitigate that? We face serious challenges, environmental challenges including deforestation, desertification, coastal erosion, flooding, pollution, and many other negative impacts of climate change. Lake Chad continues to shrink every year. Livelihood of people continue to be threatened. Our government is working with local communities to implement solutions to mitigate these effects and help us build resilience in the face of environmental challenges. For resources, to promote a green economy in Africa, we must focus on integrating sustainable practices in all sectors of our economy. These investments are capital intensive in nature, and it required international support from partner countries, including multinational organizations. Developmental partners and individuals who shared our vision of a sustainable, prosperous, and equitable future must be included. Nigeria became the first country in Africa to initiate funding for green projects through sovereign green bond proceeds, the third issuance of which is currently in progress. We urge investors to partner with us in this regard. Our government remains committed to providing an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Harnessing technology and innovation is key to driving sustainable development. We agree. Nigeria is increasingly embracing new technologies like clean energy, water conservation, land and forest restoration, waste management, and circular economy. We partner with global leaders and harnessing the power of technology. We are finding new and innovative ways to address our environmental challenges. We have arable agricultural lands for advanced technological farming, including a brighter future for artificial intelligence. Global collaborations are challenges that we must overcome. And global solution will only be effective if we work together in the spirit of mutual respect and a shared future. Nigerian government believes that sustainable development is not just a national issue, but a global imperative. We must continue to strengthen international cooperation at regional and global levels to achieve the sustainable developmental goals and mitigate the effects of climate change. Dear esteemed delegates, I would like to stress here, in addition to everything you've heard in the last few days, the most impactful image that I'm taking away from here with your support is the impact of those children that on the first day waved the banner of United Emirates Republic, asking us, all of us, to stand up, sustain the planet Earth for the future that we want to bequeath unto them. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you so much for sharing your inspiring and invaluable remarks with us today. Also with us today, it's a great honor to welcome